Okay, video 3 of 3 on December 22nd. Pinterest. The stock is pretty volatile. The business is okay, not that exciting. I don't hear a lot about it anymore. It looks like they defended 27 vigorously, give or take 50 cents. You better not lose it. If you lose 26.50, like if you come into this first white line, it's at risk of drifting all the way down to 20. I'm not sure. So there is support just here and below, and another set of support below that, and another set of support below that. So if I was tempted in buying shares, I probably would rather do a stock replacement strategy or stock alternative strategy, which is sell puts at a level where I want to buy the shares, and also add call spreads of sorts that get me long without money out of pocket. It is pretty flexible, so you could get a trade up to 33. I mean, that could be pretty fruitful. It will follow the market. 30.8 to 31.4, difficult. I'll put a box. Resistance. And a bunch of support below. Phototronics, PLAB. Okay. Good business, solid business. I don't think it's too flexible. Meanwhile, the chart is somewhat flexible, surprising. Solid support below, hideous resistance above. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know what that was all about up here. Headline of sorts. And solid support below 23, 22, and 21 is a no-brainer. So those are the comments here. You can own it as an investment, but it looks like more of a trading stock than an investment. Palantir, I'm in shock and awe of this stock. So we used it as a gauge during this quote correction of last week. When markets were still on their back foot, first thing this guy bounced, and I said, how scared is this market when they're buying froth? This is perceived froth, not the company, the stock price action, into high heaven and almost in high. Just for valuations perspective, you don't value growth stocks in terms of like how cheap is it. So you need a metric of sorts that measures how fast the sales are growing compared to the stock price. And this one is extremely expensive from that perspective. So it's not like overpriced. The statement is the price of the stock is accelerating at a much faster rate than the actual growth of the sales, which are impressive. It grows really fast. The stock has grown twice as fast, if not more. So now price to sales in this one is over 60, if I remember correctly. In comparison, a company like Tesla is probably in the 15. Microsoft would probably be 7. So if you buy the shares now, you're giving them 60 years worth of current level sales in credit. Sounds expensive to me. I don't know what you're asking. Are you asking to buy shares? Do it. You don't need my permission. I wouldn't do it for myself. If I'm not long the stock, I missed it, I would just get involved to get it out of my system. I would put a couple of $100 in it and walk away or something like that. It's just too high for me. PayPal. It used to be one of the stocks we traded often. I don't think valuation up here justifies it for me. They are buying dips inside of a very nice ascending channel. And if you just bought the dip, that's what they've been doing. So your question right here, right now is, are you here? So let's do that. If you're here, this is your future, right? Let's see if you can do it. Or are you going to hit resistance and then retest and then fail your retest and do one of these? This time it's different. So those are your two paths. I'll do this one in red. Nick, you're giving me up and down. No, I'm giving you potential paths. If you want to rinse and repeat, this is the path that should unfold. Along the way, when you get to 89, 90, you have to ask yourself, are we going to break into a higher high, or are we going to retest the floor to establish better footing? That's the question. So watch for 90 plus. How confident are they once they get there, if they get there? Meanwhile, you do have support scattered, and I mean it, like scattered all the way down to 74. Roblox, I wouldn't touch it up here. It's one of those, I believe if I zoom back out long enough, I would have higher highs. Oh yeah. So any chart that looks like this from the you-know-what period of time, I wouldn't touch, especially if it's a new business, relatively new business with a P&L like this. Up here was wrong, down here was wrong, here is no longer wrong or right. They're buying dips and they're going to high heaven. So I make this comparison. So when I trade or invest, I think I have an advantage. Otherwise, why am I taking the risk, right? If I buy a stock, it's because I know more than most of the people that are selling it. That's my belief, right? Or if I sell a stock, it's because I believe I am better at guessing the valuation as opposed to somebody else. In this one, I don't have an advantage because I'm in a pool of less than sophisticated investors. So if I'm an excellent basketball player and I can step on the field of excellent basketball players, or I can step on the field of basketball players that throw elbows and are super aggressive for no reason, which field am I stepping on? Well, that's the field where people are throwing elbows and maybe they're sophisticated players and we're not. That's not the one I'm stepping in. I would rather step on a field like Apple, where I know that it behaves well. Then there are other stocks that are this size that are not Roblox. Okay, so that's my comparison. So it's not a stock I would trade, but it's definitely tradable, and the bulls have control. Regeneron. So you see this comment here. I said it tries to stabilize and it looks like a bottom and makes a lower low. They're selling rallies consistently. And I drew, is this another stabilization platform or another dip? Well, it was a dip because that's where we're at, exactly at my level. So what am I saying? Yeah, this could be different. But rallies into 740, 50, and 60 are going to be met with sellers. Not until it goes above 800 am I certain that this drift is stopped. So they're establishing a bottom. The process involves beating this one, 800, 800.3 to be exact. If you beat 800.3, then the bottom is in. Up until then, if you've been buying calls and losing, stop. Okay, this is a must beat. To say that I'm not going to make a lower low. I don't care where the support is. And it is everywhere here. So not too many people can sell a put in the stock because it's $600 or $700. But you could sell a put spread. Good Lord. Good Lord. Okay. So this is a stock we traded on the way down. The credit put spread is still alive. If you look left, those are prior targets that we played with and kind of forecasted it well. Letter R up there, support lost, and target if you lose the support. And then they used it as a bounce level. They failed at R again, and they pivoted around the same zone. So it's violent, but at least it behaves okay versus levels. All of these red boxes are problems on the way back up. So if indeed they rally again, exit your longs. The long we took involved selling something, not buying something. So you do have support. Look left. And if you lose that support, you do have backup support from this. Nothing unusual. If you just went long, I get it. But you should know that as soon as you hit 99 plus, you're going to hit a wall. SERV robotics. I believe in robotics for the future, and with the AI becoming more ubiquitous and the quantum computing, well, I'm laughing. I'm joking about that last part. We won't be you and me won't be available. There won't be any quantum computers for us for a long time. That's my prognostication there. But robotics should accelerate at a faster pace than before. Okay. Like, I don't expect to have a copy of me in the next 5 years, but I expect that robotics are going to come into our lives at a more rapid pace than before. Okay. Stock-wise, 12 was a good breakout. 18 or higher is going to be near impossible. That is a lot to conquer. Now, if at some point they break out from 24, then whatever they want is available. It's something you can own for the futures, but there's no revenue, so you got to do homework. Shopify, we're short and we made money. You can close that short if you want to. I don't like it. Whatever the hell this was, I don't like it. Shopify. So it's a Trump trade too? Why? Why is this a Trump trade? Somebody explain it to me. I think I wouldn't get involved until it loses 85 or closer to 85 for me. If someone's selling a put on 85. You see this this channel? This was the pace at which they were rallying, and then they exceeded it by far. And the P&L is not any better. The bottom line is so weird. Like they have a good bottom line, and then it falls off a cliff, and then it start to build again. I don't get it. Net income, 800 million again. Pretty strange behavior. Successful company though. I would be a buy the dip in that. Nowhere near up here. Schlumberger. The fact that they lost this potential target zone that I said from losing up here. You see, this was a must hold up at 47. And then we put the letter R and we put a target up here. Once they lost it, the support that was those dashes became resistance. And now they repeated those dashes down here inside this yellow box. So what am I saying? It's going to take a monumental effort to get back above 41. Until then, you're at risk of drifting lower towards better footing, which is old. It's strong, but it's old to 2022. Oh, the bottom from 2022. So here is a stock that's trying to hold the bottom from 2022 versus the market that cannot stop making ultimate highs. Not good. Silver. I think we crushed silver trades. I mean, it must have been one of our best tickers ever over time. So I drew this purple head and shoulders, I don't remember when, and I gave you 2 arrows as potential targets. Last week, they came close to the first one. So having said that, I said critical support zone, they lost it last week. So that critical support zone now becomes the opposite of support zone, okay? So target 1 and 2 were both met on the way down. Now it's a matter of how do you deal with the resistance that you just acquired. So the way I would say it is anything above 27.6 is going to be difficult. And if it gets back to 28, I would short it. With, you know, at the time, I reserve the right to change my mind, but it looks like a short if it gets there. And you can, whoops, don't know what I did there, copy, paste. And there's a resistance zone that they're just entering into right now. And so it's in danger of drifting towards 25, and it can push up to 28 to see how they want to deal with the neckline they just lost. They can save it. Semtech, vulnerable up here. If you lose last week's low, I think you can. It's a fast trip to 53. I don't know this P&L. So do your homework there. The stock is vulnerable. Snowflake, still vulnerable. Short-term comments, you can find yourself at 140 or lower. This rally was too big, and it went into the letter R from WF. You remember, once they lost this, and I said WTF, and then they did all of this, and now they're going unreasonable investors in the stock, which makes me never want to trade it again. It's unpredictable, too manipulated. At one point, I said, recover the letter X, or you risk going to Y. That's what happened. They never recovered X, and they went to Y. And now they not only blew past X, they jumped over X from here to here. And I bet you anything, if I go read the earnings report, it wouldn't be nearly as exciting as the price action in it. But that's a dumbass market that we're in. Ooh, take that. He said the S word. Anyway, Synopsys, I wouldn't trade it with options. I know the person that asked me for this this week was looking at options. I don't think it's that liquid. The only way I would use options for Synopsys is if I wanted to own shares and sell a put and I don't need to trade it. I just want to sell it and own it. That would be it. Good solid support at 460. Wow, 460. And 370 is even better. And resistance above 550 is going to be difficult to overcome. SOFI, I am still short by a naked put, as you know, and it's profitable. I don't know if I trimmed it or not. Target 1 was met, even though they took a detour. So I tell you this with complete confidence. If you lose 14 this coming week, you're at risk of going down to 12. And let's see what can come in the way. 16 and above is difficult. 16 and above is difficult. So I'm holding puts, and I did not sell puts against them. I'll see if I want to close the whole thing. Sound Hound, I don't trade it. Like I said, I want to trade when I have an advantage, and this one is headlined with NVIDIA this and NVIDIA that. It's an investment. If you bought it as an investment because you thought that it working with NVIDIA is a good thing for the long term, great decision. Just don't trade it. Just own it for as long as you think you've had enough. Don't short it. Trading it, you're blind. I am blind. I don't know the headlines, and look at how it moves in sheets. It goes from 10 to 15 in 2 days for no particular reason, and then it gives back half of it, and then it quadruples it, and then it gives back half of that. It's just not for me. They are buying dips. 1550 is a number you should look at. 12-ish is another number, and the base under 10. How about you just buy it next time it falls hard into 10 if you're not long. Black & Decker, okay. Oh, Stanley, yeah. So this was a trade. I think I had a credit put spread on it. Where is it? Usually I put them on the chart. Anyway, it's just a trade into a support zone. So boring P&L, boring company concept, falling into a support zone that has yielded profits every time. I didn't buy calls or shares. You could. I just said, okay, I can sell a put or put spread. This one is, so robotics, I would want to own it. I thought for sure this drop was because of some sort of a weird thing with the accounting. If it's not, then it's a stock I would own for the long term. Like I would buy 50% of how, let's say I wanted to invest $5,000 in robotics in this company, I would buy $2,000, $3,000, maybe 2.5, and sit on it. If it gets cut down to 10 or 9 or 8, I would double it and forget. I don't know if it has enough for me to sell puts, but that would be another way of going long the stock. Therapeutics, anything therapeutics, this and that, I don't invest in because of this headline. The P&L is very wonky. The price action is super strong. They are buying dips. 27 or lower, super good support. Anything above 35 is going to be a struggle. But if you do beat 36, you're going to 42. TLT. Oh boy, we can have a whole session on that alone. What is going on with the TLT? What is going on is my thesis that the Fed is doing something wrong and the market is telling it, you're doing something wrong. What do I mean? They're cutting rates and the market is not cutting rates. The TLT falling equals rates rising in the real world. When you go out and get a mortgage, the Fed did not help you a bit. Car loans did not get cheaper. So the Fed is cutting rates because of political reasons. I say that with complete confidence. People disagree. We can debate it. The market's saying you're doing the wrong thing, and so they're not following the Fed. He's done cutting. That is my statement. It's not a fact. Unless the TLT can spike and rally. So trading the TLT now should be bullish, but it's not. Resistance through 92. But it is a descending wedge into what should be support on the left. I said needs to hold that orange line. We just lost it. We have a week to recover. So the TLT bulls can make a lot of money, but they need to take advantage of the rallies. Like if I bought calls and it rallies to 92 and I made 30 or 40%, I would be out. And if I sold puts and bought call spreads, or sold put spreads to buy call spreads, that'd probably be the best thing. You could convince me to do that. So it is a better long than a short here. Transmedics. Yeah, well, that is a pretty bad chart. All right, so I don't know the business. It looks like it has a P&L that's worthy. And why is the market not stopping it? This here, 55-ish zone, has been well traveled, but not well consolidated. The prior line that was a line in the sand is more like 48. So use the zone around 48 plus or minus $5 as a statement of like, if I'm going to sell a put to own the shares, I want it to be there. I know this is a pretty big step down from 61, but that's how the stock trades. It doesn't provide a good level of support. It's too volatile, which is one of the stock. That's one of those basketball courts I talked about I don't want to trade in. Thermo Fisher, same. Solid P&L, stable, yet the stock trades like it's Tesla. Like, why did they bring it down to 400 and change and then take it up to 600 and change? You can't answer it, then it's not for me to use. Let's tell you that support is at 493. You need to hold it. If not, you go to 440 or lower. And you could get to 580, and I would exit, because anything above 580 or into 600 should be tough resistance. Tesla, buy. No. I lost money shorting Tesla via one credit call spread that somebody wanted to take it. But if I were a betting man, I would bet down from there. In fact, we made a lot of money for people who shorted it based on the shorter term comments intraday the other day up here. I drew the arrow at the green and immediately played out and then some. And then this squiggly mark also played out. So the question now, are they selling rallies, and how far they will take it? So why did they rally? I had a thesis. I think it's a miscalculation of, or misinterpretation of a headline. A few weeks ago, a headline came out about self-driving, and people bought Tesla stock like it's crazy. I said, you guys are misinterpreting this headline. I could be wrong, but here's my thought process. The self-driving does not help it make more money. Tesla already sells self-driving technology. It's a premium. You can pay for it. They've been doing it for a long time. They didn't need permission. The only permission is the labeling of what it does. So the headline did not mean that they're going to bring self-driving cars. They already have those. That doesn't expedite bringing the robo-taxis. They don't have those, and I don't believe they will, at least not for 2 years. So maybe it was a misinterpretation of that. And then you start hearing about, quote, mystery factories somewhere in the world producing things other than cars. And so that's probably also added fuel to the fire. If you tell me that Tesla has a new source of income, it could go to $1,000. If you can tell me that this is the same old car company for another year and a half or two, I say this stock is going to get 30-40% haircut. So those are my broad statements. It's a great company. It's not a great car company, but it's a great tech company if indeed he follows through with robots and robo-taxis and whatever else this mystery factory is. Until then, it's a car company, hideously expensive. Chart, very vulnerable for dips. TSM. Don't take offense in anything I said. It's my opinion. You may have the opposite opinion. Therefore, we have a market. So you can buy your call and make money off of it. And I would just avoid trading it altogether. Start short on the TLT. Sell puts on the TLT. I would not sell puts on the TLT, no. TSM, awesome company. P&L is amazing. Like, truly shocking. Look at it. It's amazing. Stock is so elastic. With an income statement like this, the stock should be just like a straight line like that. No jagged, no nothing, but there it is. Resistance a while back. Now it's definite support. So confidently, I would say 206 would surprise me, but if it does come, 216 might follow. And losing 186 should not happen, but if it does, we have a backup support zone everywhere below. So if I wanted to own shares for the long term, I mean, maybe you can. For me, I would put an alert somewhere lower on a crash to invest, like inside this candle. Maybe one day we will wake up, oh, headline TSM, blah, 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 Korea, blah, blah, Taiwan, China, Japan, some headline over the chip sales blocked by whatever. If it dips into 130, 140 or lower, it should be a gift. If it ever comes down to the 110 gap, take it as an investment. So good company, you might get better prices. Take two, whatever I just said about TSM on the chart wise, definitely. I wouldn't touch this up here. It's vulnerable to come down to 165 or lower. Vulnerable to come down to 165 and lower. Not for me. Definitely not for me. Let's see on the weekly. Oh my gosh. Okay, so if you're patient and you're in a short, that might pay well. Target 1 on the weekly is below 145. Target 2 is below 125. But that's a weekly chart. It might take months to play out. Okay, I'm short and losing money on this one. I don't understand it. So I have a very small short position, but it does owe me money. I don't understand a P&L like this and a stock performance like that. This stock performance outdoes everything we know of awesome P&Ls. So the statement is, it's not that they were trying to recover this line. They exceeded it. They broke into a new high. I don't get it. This is a company that filed for bankruptcy before, and everybody now thinks that it's going to high heaven. What is the thesis? If you guys know, let me know. Like, are they going to bring in self-flying planes or something? This I get. That was the pandemic. This did not erase the pandemic. Oh, there I go. Me saying those words. All right, Google, I promise, talking about time frames, not products. It's a short for me. It's not a long. Uber. Now they're smart people that are going to tell you Uber is dead. I heard a smart person say that. I was like, okay, I may believe that if you tell me that globally they're going to lose their workforce. I think the reason why they're rejecting this is because of the self-driving headline. If the cars are self-driving, you don't need workforce. But if you think about it, that's cheaper for Uber to be in business. They said, oh, they're going to be leasing cars from Tesla. I was like, what's wrong with that? If you're going to have your model work with no people, wouldn't that be amazing? I mean, that is not a selling point, like a sell point. It's a buy point. Meanwhile, look at the lines on the chart. Letter R is resistance. Okay, they overshot a little bit, but then this played out perfectly. And now you have a must-hold level, and if not, you can come down. So I can see it coming down to 52 and 50. And people are going to be running from it when it hits that, but that's when they should be coming into it. So they are selling rallies. I would pick my entry points. I could sell a 56 put or 55 put for short term, or sell a 45 put in order to own shares down there. But it's not a bargain. You know what I mean? Okay, UNH is a bargain, but I don't trade that industry. It has support and backup support into 450. I don't know how the environment's going to be with the new administration with regards to companies like this one. But earnings is in almost a month. We'll see what they say. Anything approaching 540 is going to be a tough resistance. So I would be more inclined to generate income off of the support levels that it may have versus trying to say, okay, upside potential. Because they overshot. I would consider the top is 550, not 630. So how much money can I make between here and 550? Not a lot on the upside. So I would rather make money off of support. Visa, everything I said about MasterCard applies here. Amazing company. Not an obvious point of entry. Weak spot from the pandemic. From the election pop. It's a short, but even at that, it's not that exciting. Vertiv, not an obvious entry point. too high for my taste. P&L is questionable at best with regards to the price action. It doesn't match. You can see the letter R here. They obliterated it. So now you do have a box you can build. It's not these two lines, but pretty close. If you build a box around here, that is a zone that has been very pivotal of late. October. So I think you have support into 100, but if you lose 100, you might end up at 88, which would be a gift. So selling puts to own shares would be better than just buying calls. This rally can get to 125, can get to 132, but we'll see if they sell it once it gets there. Walmart, it's a short. I am short. I'm losing money on a small position. I did not add to it. I should have. If I had, I would be green. Look at the chart on the left. There's a wide range of no transactions, and that is not the type of stock that should happen in. You cannot get more boring than Walmart P&L and financials. You can, if you design a, how can I make the company boring? You maybe get to Walmart. So this here, I don't understand. Don't be surprised to see it at 85. And if you make a higher high, you explode into another. I would double down if they explode higher. I want to see the like what are they chasing? What is the talking point versus valuations? And for this one, a PE is a proper metric for valuation. Let's do on an annual basis, fewer data points. So the PE is 39. High, we've seen it that high before in 2018. You know, before 2018, it was in the teens, and now it's close to 40. Price to sales, this is not a double-digit grower. Price to sales is twice what it should be. And that's not the proper metric, so I don't know how I feel about it. The proper metric is PE, and it says it's expensive but not outrageous. The price to sales is outrageous. I think that's a reason to short. Anyway, I would not be long Walmart up here. That's a confident statement. Woodward. Is he on SpongeBob? No, that's Squidward. Okay, let's see here. Woodward engages in the design, manufacture of control solutions for aerospace, of course. All right, so fell into a solid base. So if I got long and now I have fewer reasons to get out, I wouldn't chicken out of it. If I ever thought about going long in the last 6 months, this would be a good place to start. It could bounce to 178 and it should hit a wall up there. And the wall is like $6. So you have support below and you also have resistance above. But if you're an investor and you want to start the position, I don't blame you. XLV, I was short, but not anymore. But I do have something to say about it. It is one of the weaker ones of the XL posse, as we call them, XLF, XLV, XLC, XLK, XLY, XLB, all of those. It has been consistently dragging the market lower. Look at it to the left, lower highs and lower lows. They are seeking a base that they can count on. Having fallen below 141, they just opened another door for lower lows. It's not inconceivable. It is entirely possible that this one is seeking 131 or 132. So it does have support, but the best support is down here. I could go long. You could convince me to sell a put spread, but they are selling rallies. So be careful of that. I would not buy calls. Zscaler. This one should come with a warning. Cuidado. Not for the faint of heart. Made a lot of money with Zscaler. It may be heading to 158, 156, 144, 142, 130. I don't know how low it goes. This thing goes for miles before it changes its mind. Or it could go to 250 or higher. What am I doing? I'm scaring the people that don't have a strong stomach. Earnings on Tuesday for this one? No. You must be talking about the one before it. On what? Oh, must have been UNH. Okay. So I didn't address too many earnings statements. So if any stock I just covered has earnings coming this week, then everything I said is just out the window because it's a coin flip short term. Thanks, Lou. Okay, so on this one, I think they need to recover 200 or risk falling towards 150. They need to recover 200 so they can avoid drifting lower and finishing the 2 red arrows and then some. Good company. Just don't expect it to slow down because it's fallen 30%. This is a stock where I more than quadrupled my money and I missed on 100 times more money. That's how much it runs. Okay. All right, folks, this is it. We hit them. I think there were 100 tickers. Thank you for being here, guys and girls. And at home, come back here.